The Mitsero Murders is a case that shook the small island of Cyprus in 2019. The murders involved the killings of several women, whose bodies were found in abandoned mine shafts in the Mitsero area of the island. The case attracted a lot of attention from the public and media, and the investigation into the murders uncovered disturbing details about the perpetrator and his actions. The first victim of the Mitsero Murders. The Mitsero Murders shocked the world with their brutal and heinous nature. The first victim, Mary Rose Tiburcio, a 38-year-old from the Philippines, went missing in May 2018, leaving her 6-year-old daughter alone in their home. Despite an investigation into her disappearance, the case went cold, and hope for finding her alive was dwindling. But then a breakthrough occurred. A body was discovered in a flooded mine shaft near Mitsero on April 14, 2019, giving the investigation a much-needed boost. After careful analysis, it was determined that the remains belonged to none other than Mary Rose Tiburcio, and the search for her killer began in earnest. The Cypriot police spared no effort in pursuing justice for Mary Rose, and their dogged determination paid off. The investigation was thorough, and eventually, the perpetrator was identified. The story of the Mitsero Murders is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the pursuit of justice, even in the face of unspeakable tragedy. The Mitsero Murders, a complex and shocking investigation. The case of the Mitsero Murders in Cyprus was nothing short of a labyrinthine investigation, with the authorities resorting to a plethora of methods to gather evidence, including conducting interviews with witnesses, analyzing DNA samples, and scouring properties in the area. The case was one of the largest and most complex in the history of the country, and its resolution was of utmost importance to the authorities. One of the most significant breakthroughs in the investigation came when a second body was discovered in a different mine shaft in Mitsero. It was later identified as the remains of Arian Palanas Lozano, a 28-year-old woman from the Philippines who had also been reported missing in 2018. This discovery was a crucial piece of evidence that confirmed the involvement of a serial killer in the murders. The weeks that followed were fraught with tension as the local police discovered 2 more bodies in separate mine shafts in the area. One of the bodies was identified as Maricar Valtez Arqueola, a 31-year-old woman from the Philippines who had been reported missing in December 2017. The discovery of her remains added another layer of complexity to the case and raised more questions about the killer's motives and methods. The fourth victim, a woman of unknown nationality, was also found among the bodies in one of the mine shafts. It is believed that she was a migrant worker. Unraveling the dark deeds of the Mitsero murderer, Nikos Metaxes. Nikos Metaxes, a 35-year-old man from Cyprus, has been identified as the individual responsible for the brutal murders that took place at Mitsero. Prior to his resignation from the National Guard in 2018, Metaxes had served as an officer in the Cypriot Armed Forces for a total of 14 years. Despite being married with 2 children, he was known to have been involved with multiple women. On April 18, 2019, Metaxes was apprehended by the police after they tracked him down using the records from his phone. Initially, he vehemently denied any involvement in the murders, but eventually he confessed to having killed all 4 women. He was charged with premeditated murder, kidnapping, and other related offenses. Metaxes revealed the gruesome details of the murders, which he had carefully planned. He tricked the women into entering his house and then strangled them once they were inside. He would then transport their bodies to different locations in his car, before dumping them in the mine shafts where they were ultimately discovered. The trial and sentencing of Nikos Metaxes in Cyprus. Nikos Metaxes' trial started in June 2019, and from the beginning it was widely considered to be one of the most high-profile trials in the history of Cyprus. Metaxes entered a guilty plea to the charges that were brought against him and testified regarding the murders. In addition to this, he admitted that he was sorry for what he had done and apologized to the victims' families. The court heard evidence from a number of witnesses over the course of the several months that the trial lasted. These witnesses included forensic experts as well as the families of the people who were killed. The families of the victims were especially outspoken in their criticism of the authorities and the police, accusing them of not doing enough to find their loved ones. The verdict was handed down by the court in February of 2020, and Metaxes was given a sentence that included 7 life sentences for the homicides of the 4 women, in addition to additional sentences for kidnapping and other offenses related to the case. The judge called Metaxes a cold-blooded serial killer, which showed no remorse for his actions. The impact of the Mitsero Murders on Cyprus. The Mitsero Murders, which occurred in 2016, had a significant impact on Cyprus, sparking widespread demands for action to address violence against women and to enhance the country's support for migrant workers. One of the key takeaways from the case was the crucial role played by DNA evidence in criminal investigations. In fact, it was the use of DNA testing that helped to identify the victims and ultimately led to the arrest and conviction of the perpetrator. The Mitsero murders also prompted the Cypriot government to take various measures to improve its support for victims of violence. For instance, the government established a national helpline to provide assistance to victims of abuse and introduced new legislation to safeguard women from domestic violence. These measures were implemented as a direct response to the case, which underscored the urgent need to address issues of violence against women and to provide better protection for vulnerable groups, such as migrant workers. Conclusion: the Mitsero murders, a haunting and appalling case, had a profound impact on the people of Cyprus. The case brought to light the significance of conducting meticulous investigations and utilizing forensic evidence in solving crimes, while emphasizing the necessity of providing better support to victims of violence. Despite the perpetrator being held accountable for their heinous crimes, the Mitsero murders serve as a poignant reminder of the crucial importance of taking steps to prevent violence against women, not only in Cyprus but globally. It is essential that society comes together to work towards eradicating such crimes, so that no one has to experience the anguish and suffering that the victims and their families endured. That's all for this video. I hope you like it. If so, like, share, subscribe to see more such videos. Till then, take care. Thanks for watching.